Titans and Chiefs. The Titans have beaten the Patriots as huge dogs on the road. They've beaten the Ravens as huge dogs on the road. They continue to defy the odds. Will they beat the Kansas City Chiefs on the road?
No, they will not.
Will they come close?
No, they will not. Look, I love what the Titans have done, and I had them to cover in that game last week. I didn't have them to win, but I had them to cover. But to be able to go on the road and do what they've done is impressive. They pounded the football. The offensive line's playing way better than it played at any point in the season. I think their defense, Dean Pease has done a great job. But taking away Lamar Jackson, and they really didn't take him away. They limited him early in the game, and then he got a lot of yards after that. And doing it to Patrick Mahomes, two different things. And I think the game early in the year, Patrick Mahomes threw for over 400 yards in that game, and he was hurt. And he hurt the ankle again in that game. He's healthy now. I think this offense is going to explode against him. I love the idea of the Titans going in there. We're going to run Henry. We're going to do what we do. But you know what you do? You look up and it's 14-6, and you get out of that. And it gets them away from what they want to do. If they jump out and lead like they did against the Ravens, who knows? But I think this is going to be one of those games where Andy Reid and the Chiefs will jump on the Titans, and they will cover the number.
I think the Chiefs win, but I'm going to take the points in this. Taking the points when you get – I look back at the conference championship lines for the last 20 years. 13 times you had a 7-point favorite or more, and the underdogs were 10-3 in those games. The underdogs tend to cover, even if they don't always win. They tend to be closer games. The last one to do it, that Jaguars team against the Patriots, they were 7.5, 8, whatever it was, and they only lost by, what, like 4?
Yeah.
Something like that. So
could have won the game.
I think that could be a similar game to what we see here. The advanced metrics say the gap between these two isn't that big. You're talking about that last meeting. Chiefs had 530 yards of offense. Titans also had like 220 yards of rushing, and Chiefs are terrible against rushing. They're like 29th DVOA against rushing. So I think Titans will be able to run. Kansas City's third in weighted DVOA, while Titans are fourth. So the line also says there it should be about 1.5 on a neutral. Says it should be a shorter line than what we're seeing now. And the yards per play differential, another metric I go by, has a similar thing. Like Kansas City's like a tenth of a yard better. So they're really neck and neck. And I think that with that Tennessee being able to exploit that matchup against the Chiefs defense, they can keep it close, especially in the first half. And we'll see what happens after the second half. But I think the Titans probably lose by 4 to 6 points instead of 8 or more. So I'm going to take Titans plus 7.5 for 150.
By the way, normally in this situation, I'd be with you and take the Titans. I just am, because remember, they went there a couple years ago and used that same formula to beat them. Henry ran wild.
Right.
It wasn't Patrick Mahomes, but he ran wild in that game. But I just think this Chiefs team, they just, once they go, like we saw last week, they go and you're not stopping them. I just don't think they're going to stop them.
But you're not going to, even against bad defenses, you're not going to do what they did last
No, but
most teams.
No.
Chris
Jones in the game will be a factor. That's huge for the Chiefs.
Dealing with illness. I'm also going to do, going back to that same point, first half, Titans are plus 4.5. I'm going to take that for 50 as well, because if the Chiefs do cover, it's because they're running away in the second half, and the Titans can't run the ball. So the Chiefs are able to throw it and run the clock, and Tannehill just isn't able to keep up with that. So if the formula for the Chiefs covering this game isn't conducive to them being up big at halftime, I'm going to take the Titans plus 4.5, because I just think the running game is going to keep them close. Maybe the Chiefs have a 4-point lead at halftime, but that's probably it.
So I thought I dabbled at taking the under in this game. It's up to 53. I dabbled at taking the Chiefs first quarter. It's minus. I think it's actually like -1, which is surprisingly low given how Andy Reid teams have started. I ultimately settled on doing a money line parlay with the favorites. That seems like the donkey move. I'll probably regret it when it loses. Here's my question for you, Pete, because you were all over this last week with the Dean Pease stuff. However, Dean Pease versus Lamar Jackson and that Ravens offense is a very different beast. And by the way, I predicted on CBS Sports HQ that Patrick Mahomes would throw 5 passing touchdowns last week. He threw exactly 5 passing touchdowns. Yay me. What are the Titans going to do against Kansas City? Because to me, you can't say, all right, we're going to go cover 0 blitz, engage 8, send the house, and force Patrick Mahomes to sit in the pocket and throw to the outside numbers. If you do that, he will kill you. He will take shots to Tyreek Hill in one-on-one coverage down the field all day long. So barring like crazy weather, what is the Titans' defensive plan going to be against Kansas City? Because it can't be the same thing it was against Baltimore.
Take away Kelce. First and foremost. I think when you look at Kelce and what he means to the middle of the field, you have to take him away. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, wait a second now. You got that speed outside. But what he does, he gets them going. And he can run. I saw him in the locker room the other day. He's not nearly as big as he used to be. He looks like he's almost like wide receiver size. And he can flat out run. And those matchups are bad. So I think they have to take him away, number one. And that's going to leave a lot of opportunities for Hill. I talked to Tyreek Hill in the locker room on Friday, and I said, were you ever healthy this year? And he said, not until the very end of the season. And in fact, remember, he spent the night in the hospital in Jacksonville, and then he hurt that same shoulder against Tennessee in that game. And he hasn't been wasn't the same player. He says he's back all the way now. And we didn't see the full Tyreek Hill last week. I think they doubled him a bunch. I think this week you're going to see more Tyreek Hill.
That's possible. We're going to talk about player props here in a second, too, and I'm going under on Tyreek Hill's numbers just because they haven't been great. So if you want to take him at his word and he is 100%, he might hit that over. But, good weather. Weather's not going to be a factor. That's another reason why I'm also...
Cold.
It's going to
really
be cold, but that's not going to prevent scoring. So at our over-under of 52.5, I'm going to put 50 on the over for that as well, just because, both these teams are strong where the defense on offense, where the defenses are weak. The Titans' pass defense isn't very good. The Chiefs' run defense isn't very good. So I think it's going to be a ton of points. Last meeting, 67 points, 433 pass yards for Kansas City, and 225 rush yards for Tennessee is the exact number. So I just think they're going to go back and forth a lot. You're going to see a close, 35-31 type of game.
So you like the over in this spot?
Like the over.
I tend to like the over, too. I didn't put anything on it because I don't have much left, but I like the over.
Because part of the reasons the Chiefs lost that last game, they settled for a lot of short field goals,
right.
In places where they could try to pick it up.
And they had one blocked.
And against the Titans,
right?
You should be able to pick up, short fourth down. So I think they kind of learned their lesson, and they're going to be a little bit more aggressive this time, and they'll go for it on fourth down smart, knowing they're going to have to score points because Tennessee's playing really well, and they're not going to settle for field goals, and that's how you get the under is if they're settling for field goals.
By the way, that's one thing when you go out on the road and you're on a cold venue and you're standing there on the sidelines before the game watching guys warm up. It gives me much more appreciation of kickers kicking in the cold weather. Because everything is a thud or like a piece of concrete and everything. That's amazing that they can do that in those garbage conditions. They shouldn't have weather games. They should play them in domes, all of them.
While we're talking about kickers and news and stuff, did you watch any of the XFL tryouts today?
No, I did not. Was it?
You see who tried out kicker?
My man, Chad Johnson.
No, our guy Ojo tried out, but so did PFT.
Oh, he did?
He tried out for the XFL Defenders in D.C. He actually buried like a 35 or 40-yard field goal while wearing goggles.
Didn't Chad do it too, though? Chad tried out, didn't he?
Yeah, Chad tried out I don't think, was it the Defenders? Is he? I feel like I would have seen some sort of video of Ocho Cinco blasting kicks. I love Ocho.
He was here with us a couple weeks ago in the studio. It was good to see him again. Yeah.
Yeah. So just worth noting, we're recording this on Wednesday. You'll hear it on Friday. The YouTube will be up sooner. I'm not sure if we'll post it on Wednesday or on Thursday. I'm sure Debo will tell me and will chastise me for asking the question live on the air Thursday. It's when it'll go up. The wind for Saturday. Game is not on Saturday, but the wind for Saturday, 18 miles an hour throughout the day. The wind for Sunday is looking more like 10 miles an hour. If you were to start to see a bunch of wind popping up, would that affect your over-under? Would that affect your spread pick at all? Like, does nasty weather make you lean towards the Titans more, et cetera, et cetera?
It helps the Titans pick that I already made, but I don't think it really bothers my over pick because Titans are going to get their numbers on the ground anyway. And Mahomes, wind isn't going to affect Mahomes. He's not a little weak arm quarterback that's going to let the ball is going to start sailing on him. Like he throws it to wide open guys because they get schemed wide open, and I don't think it's going to play that much of a difference.
Brinson, give me the weather report. You got it right in front of you, just for my own purposes, so I can be miserable.
Yes, Sunday it says the high is going to be 12 degrees.
Ugh. No, it doesn't.
High is 26.
The low is like 10 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, you're gonna catch mid-20s. You're gonna get the warmest part of the day, Pete. So good for you. But you'll be out on the field.
I'll be there 4 hours before the game. What are you talking about? I'm gonna get the coldest part of the day.
Yeah, 11 a.m. It looks like 18 degrees, and then right after the game, it should be about 19 degrees on the field.
And then how about Friday, Saturday? Because I got to be outside in those days too.
Friday, 100% chance of snow.
Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's going to start snowing at 5 a.m., and it's going to stop snowing about midnight.
That means that my plane may not even get there. I might be watching on TV.
You should really go Thursday.
I should be watching on TV this week.
Saturday, you're looking at a high of 34. That will actually occur around 2 a.m. And then by Saturday night, it'll be about a crisp 25.
Oh, my God. Yeah, look, I have a great appreciation for living in South Florida now.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. When I was walking in this, me and Dane, who's my shooter, my producer, we were walking in the stadium. We parked the car, and we were in a lot with all Chiefs fans. It was 9 a.m. Okay, it's 5 hours before that game. 9 a.m. They were everywhere, and they got tents and portable bathrooms that they pop up everywhere, and they were having it was freezing, and it was 9 a.m. and they were having a time of their lives. I'm telling you, those fans are outstanding.
Okay, so to recap for this game, I think Pete and I don't have any. I don't have
any individual picks because I don't have anything left, so I got to be.
I do have some player props. We'll get to those in a second. You know what I could do is I could read the rundown and do that. So let's go along with the rundown. The Chiefs are minus 345 on the money line. Titans plus 290. I kind of like the Chiefs team total at 29.5, and I kind of like the Titans team total at 22.5 as well.
Over under.
Over Chiefs. Over. I think the Chiefs are going to blow them out. But then I look at this game.
What do you think the Chiefs are going to get? 35?
I think they're going to win 31-17.
So you like the under then too?
Yeah.
So you like the under Titans total?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant over the Chiefs total.
Right.
But you like the under in the game?
I do like the under in the game. The weird thing about the first matchup between the two teams, one, I would point out that the Chiefs defense is substantially better than it was when they played the first time. I don't know if they're much better against a run, and Pete pointed out that Chris Jones matters. Chris Jones is a huge factor in this game. If they don't have Chris Jones, the Titans will be able to run the ball pretty effectively.
We were on the field for pregame, and he tried to give it a go, and he was just frustrated and wincing that it hurt so bad. And I also wonder if they didn't say, hey, Chris, next week the big back comes to town. We need you more. I mean, you can't usually do that. But, they need him more. The truth is they need him more in this game than they needed him in last week's game.
Mm-hmm.
The defense held up fine. The defense did its job against the Texans. They had one busted play that was a beautifully designed fake screen that was up top to Kenny Stills. Then they had the blocked punt for a touchdown. They had the short yardage fumble return on a punt. And then they had the late garbage touchdown that was set up by one busted deep play. Like, the defense was fine against Houston. It wasn't bad. So I'm kind of with you. The one thing that concerns me about that previous meeting, too, though, the Chiefs were up 10-0 in the first quarter against Tennessee, and that's when you felt like it was going to be a runaway train. Tennessee came back multiple times against them in that game. They were down 10-0. They were down 19-13. They were down 29-20, and they were down 32-27, and still managed to pull off the win. That's a little concerning. Like my thought is the Chiefs will get the lead, and then we'll be able to just pour it on. That's my only red flag. I have some player props for this game, and one of them I'm going to go back to the well from last week. I can bring up my email.
Patrick Mahomes touchdown passes again.
Yeah, that was a freebie, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but you didn't win anything on it.
What are you talking about?
Weren't you given 2-1?
I bet 200 and won 100 on it.
Yeah.
The only thing I won. Freaking, otherwise I got bloodbath. I should just bet everything on Patrick. I don't know why I didn't just take every cent I had and put it on the over on Patrick Mahomes touchdown passes. That would have been the smart move. I'm doing it again this week. I know Kelsey, they're going to try and wrap up Kelsey. This is a better pass defense than what the Texans offered. I don't think it's an elite pass defense, though, and I do think you can throw on them. And I think Patrick Mahomes is just going to have to throw the ball. Andy Reid's going to be aggressive. He's going to get passing touchdowns. The over-under for 2.5 passing touchdowns, this is at the Westgate. It's not up on DraftKings where we usually do our picks. I would rather have over under 1.5 and lay a bunch of juice, but I'll take over under 2.5 plus 120. I'm going to put 100 on that to win $120. I think Mahomes will get 3 passing touchdowns. He had 3 the last time they met. If you look at most of the teams that Tennessee's contained, you're talking about quarterbacks who aren't that great. So I don't think it would be a shock to see him throw 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, they basically contained Brady and Lamar Jackson the last 2 weeks throwing touchdown passes.
Yeah.
So one's
One
the
guy's washed
MVP,
up and one
one's
guy's running.
one's the GOAT, one's the MVP.
But both aren't the passers.
No, I know.
So.
I know.
One's a washed up. He's an old battered goat.
One is the GOAT and one is the MVP of the league, Brinson.
Yeah, no, you cannot give me credit. Like you're like Lamar Jackson can't pass the ball.
No, I didn't. I say he can pass the ball. He just can't pass it outside the numbers, and that's what they dared him to do last week.
By all means, please dare Patrick Mahomes to do that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I will take the over on Patrick Mahomes passing touchdowns. I will gamble that Patrick Mahomes is going to go nuclear here. By the way,
is Patrick Mahomes better than Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
If you were starting a franchise and you took Lamar Jackson over Patrick
Mahomes would be the first pick.
Yeah.
Somebody on Twitter put out the other day, if you had any player in these 4 games to start your franchise with, it'd be Derrick Henry, and I laughed.
That was Simmons. It was Bill Simmons. Why?
How dumb can you get?
No. He meant if you were doing a draft of players in the playoffs, you would take Derrick
Right.
Henry.
You're not going to take Derrick Henry. He wouldn't be over. You wouldn't take Henry over Rodgers.
No, you wouldn't take Henry over Jimmy Garoppolo.
No.
You would take Henry over George Kittle.
Would you take Henry over Bosa?
He wrote that so you guys would start shouting about it on this podcast.
Wait,
so
we
good
just
job.
did. We did.
What's that?
He wrote it so you could so people would shout about it on podcasts. So good job.
He gave me a shout out on his podcast, and I'll give him one back.
He took a page out of the Will Brinson school of trying to stir up the pot.
I didn't hear him. I didn't hear the actual piece. I saw it. Like people were quote tweeting it, and like I assume what he's saying is like if you were building. Like if you took all the teams all the players on the 4 teams left in the playoffs, and you put them into a pool and you had a 4-team draft, he's saying that Henry would be the first.
That's laughable. It's not even
wrong.
close. He wouldn't be top 10.
No, well let's do the draft really quickly. Like Mahomes is one easily, right?
Rodgers.
Yes. Mahomes won.
Rodgers.
2. Yeah.
You take Jimmy G over him.
Take Jimmy G 3 because you got the quarterback. I would probably take Kittle 4.
You take Nick Bosa 4.
Okay, Bosa 4 is fine.
You take
start naming players you take.
Oh, you probably take Buckner before him.
Quan Alexander, yes.
No, not Quan Alexander. Who?
Sherman.
Richard Sherman.
Not at his age though.
We're just talking about for these playoffs.
Just for these playoffs. Would you take Zadarius Smith over him?
Yes, I take Zadarius Smith.
Would you take Devontae Adams? Would you take Devontae Adams over him?
Yes.
See, the names you're throwing out are easy. You need to go through like Titans. What Titans are you taking over him?
I take Rashawn. I take Jeffrey Simmons over him.
Taking some of those offensive linemen over him, maybe.
I take Jeffrey Simmons over him for the long haul for sure.
I was saying I would take Jeffrey Simmons over him for the next 2 games. I think that Jeffrey Simmons is probably the answer.
I wouldn't take Jeffrey for the next 2 games. Jeffrey Simmons over Derrick Henry? No way.
What about Kevin Byard?
No. I'm taking Henry over. For the way that team wants to play, Henry.
No, but you're building.
If you're going to beat the Chiefs, Kevin Byard's going to have a big role at free safety.
Yeah.
If you're going to beat the Chiefs, Derrick Henry better rush for $150.
Well, he's going to do his part anyway on the offense side. You're going to need to have some stops on.
But you're not going to take. You're not going to take Byard over.
He's a playmaker back.
I agree, but you're not going to take him over Henry for that
running
team.
Back.
I mean, I know the value.
I'll go get Aaron Jones later in the draft. He's going to run for whatever. It doesn't matter.
I might take Aaron Jones over Derrick Henry.
Not the way he's played the last 3 games and
he's
the last.
Awesome, man. But look.
I know you're not going to take. If you're going to take a back, you're taking him.
Yeah.
Okay. As we noted on our graphics team, excellent job here in the studio. Producers kill it as always. You can watch it again on youtube.com/sports. Henry's the first running back in NFL history to rush for 180 plus yards in 3 straight games, most rushing yards in first 4 playoff games in NFL history, and the first player in the Super Bowl era with 1,200 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns in an 8-game span. My God, he's been incredible.
So let's talk about the Henry player prop. Like it's 117.5 yards. That's a lot for a rushing. And Will was saying he might just go under it on principle, and he didn't pull the trigger on it. But I kind of like it over. I mean, I think he can break a couple long ones against a bad rush defense. So, Pete, what do you think? 117.5, over, under?
I would probably lean to the over because I think he's going to get a volume of carries.
He'll get like a 50-yard carry.
Yeah, he'll get one. He'll bust one out. You know, it's funny because I don't know if you saw that tweet I sent out about – I talked to Honey Badger about what it's like to tackle him. I was asking a lot of guys about what it's like to tackle him. And he said in the game earlier this year, he hit him once, and he thought he broke his own jaw because he felt like he was hitting a piece of concrete. He said, those guys say there's nothing like it, seeing that guy at top speed coming at you.
Now imagine that it's 26 degrees or whatever.
Ugh. I would not want
Good
to
luck
do
with
that. That's why they always say guys make business decisions and move out of the way.
That's the thing about the Titans that scares me. Is like, again, if they get control of that game, like if fluke stuff goes their way and they make plays in special teams and they get up 24-0, I think they win the game.
Like the Colts did when they went there and won. Remember they ran the ball? They ran the ball and they ran the ball.
Oh, I thought you meant the playoffs last year.
No, this year when Marlon Mack ran on them, they ran the ball. But this Chiefs defense much better than the one that played early in the season. Much better.
Right.
Chris Jones is better. He wasn't there early in the season. Suggs is a good run player when he's on the field. Frank Clark is back to being Frank Clark again. Much better defense. Hitchens didn't play in that game. He's on the field.
There is something terrifying. I'm looking at this. I'm on your Twitter feed right now, Pete, because I was retweeting that Honey Badger thing. And there is something terrifying about like Derrick Henry coming downhill at you.
The way they talk about it, it's like, and you know what they all say too is they don't realize how fast he is.
Yeah.
You know, because you see a big back usually, he's fast.
Yeah, he's that's how he gets those long touchdowns. He runs away from people.
Yeah.
And he it's weird because a back that big, like if you're betting against him, I picked against the Titans the last 2 weeks and I've been expecting him to lose to the Patriots and to the Ravens like a dumbass. But you're watching him and like if you're betting against him, he is terrifying because you're like, you see him and it's not like he's just boom, boom, like grinding out 3 to 5 yard runs like Jerome Bettis. He's like, I mean, you just feel like he could pop one off at any time. And when they get going and he starts wearing it down, you can see like Taylor Lewan getting the push and all those guys. Once they start feeling that he's going to break one, you could like sense it coming. It's almost like a little mini title.
The key is to not let him get his feet going. If his feet don't get going, he isn't going. Because if he starts bouncing it, you won. If he's bouncing, you won. And that's what everybody in the Chiefs locker room said. Make him bounce. Go. Can't go straight. He's got to go to the sideline.
So, speaking of your Twitter feed, by the way, I would take the under out of principle on Derrick Henry, but I didn't take it because I'm scared. Shout out to Jamie Eisenberg, 2019 Fantasy Analyst of the Year.
Yeah.
At wherever convention.
Didn't he win last year too? He's a 2-time champ, I think.
Yeah, I didn't realize that because we texted him like, "Congrats, dude! Like that's so awesome." He's like, "Yeah, it's crazy to win back to back." It's like,
yeah, like he's like, "Come on, dude, quit patting yourself on the back, Jamie."
Yeah, seriously. Why don't you go?
You know what I said on set before we talked about it? I said he beat the bartender from down the block and the hot dog salesman.
I also didn't realize. Did you know that there's actually this is a little awkward. I was looking at the awards thing. So there's a Fantasy Analyst of the Year, and then there's a People's Choice Fantasy Analyst of the Year. Jamie was not the People's Choice.
Who was the People's Choice?
Jamie's the backroom, glad-handing, schmoozer, ass-kissing, rubbing elbows with the bosses, trying to work his way into the analyst winner.
Yeah, so they named the award that he won the Will Brinson Award.
Wow. Priceless.
Hey, download and subscribe Fantasy Football Today. They keep grinding even through the offseason. Jamie, Dave, Heath. I think that's it. There's nobody else on there that's worth even noting. A couple more player props. Adam Azer, I'm just kidding. Ryan Tannehill, over under 216 passing yards. That feels high given what he's done. But if this turns into a shootout, maybe he has to throw more this week, right?
I think it'll be under. I think it's going to be a close game, and they can limit his attempts again. I don't think he's going to throw for 80 or whatever he had, but I don't think he's going to get to 216.
No, that's an under. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, even if it gets away from him, I mean, is he going to throw for more than two? He hasn't thrown. What did he throw for 80 in each of the 2 games?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he's not going over that.
What kind of odds would you need to take Derrick Henry has more rushing yards than Ryan Tannehill passing yards? Like 2-1?
Plus more than that. Because I mean, it's just it's so rare that they have that low of a number. Yeah, probably like +6, +7, somewhere around there. 600, 700, somewhere.
Led 99 more. AJ Brown over under 54.5 receiving yards. This Chiefs secondary is really good. I think people are sleeping on how well they played. Just two busted plays for the Texans.
Yeah, and Brown had just one catch in 3 of his last 4 games. So, I mean, that's one pretty easy to go under, and just hope that he doesn't have one of those games where he goes off.
By the way, if Honey Badger had played the way he played the last 8 games of the regular season all year long, he would have been in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
That's a great point.
I do have one bet on the player props. I took 25 on Tyreek Hill going under because I just, you said that you think he's going to get going.
What is the number?
72.5.
Oh, he's going over that.
Hasn't topped that number since week 10.
I know.
You say it's because he hasn't been 100%. He thinks he's 100%. Players always think they're more healthy than they are. So he might. The matchups favor him. So it could happen. I prefer going under on that and over on Kelsey, but you probably prefer the opposite. So my one bet's going to be 25 on Hill under, and I'm not going to touch Kelsey at 80.5.
Wait, so you talked to Tyreek and you think he's healthy, Pete?
He says he is. He says he had a bad season. He said it bothered him all year long.
I'm sure.
I mean, and then he heard it again.
I do think that, think about this from a DraftKings angle. The people who won had Travis Kelce as their captain and did very well. He had 65 points in those showdown matchups. I would anticipate everybody goes back to Kelce again this week. But as you point out, Pete, I think the Titans will try to take him away. So to me, the move would be zig and go Hill here as well. And I just think he might get some one-on-one matchups. I'm actually going to really zig, and I'm going to take a little tiny splash at a chance to win this whole thing here and now. $10, Sammy Watkins scores 3 touchdown passes.
What does that pay?
200 to 1.
3 touchdown catches. He ain't throwing 3 touchdown passes.
3 touchdown catches? Is that what you said?
3 touchdown catches.
Yeah, he said passes.
I mean, that 200 to 1, you'd be the champ then.
That's right. Just $10. So I'm splashing on that. And then, of course, I have my and I have one more Patrick Mahomes.
Might as well go into a river and throw it in there.
That's why it's a splash. I got one more first touchdown scored. Patrick Mahomes, $10 as well, 30 to 1. So read option run in for it.
30 to 1 run in? That's possible.
You get down to the 1, and instead of because I think that they'll see the Jeffrey Simmons Rashad Evans issue, and I think early on, if you get down to the in short yardage at the goal line, if you could sort of throw them off by running that read option and having have Patrick Mahomes read and duck outside, or do a little bootleg outside, I think he can stroll in for 1. So I'll take 30 to 1 on that.
Again,
that's it.
Good luck.
That one you have a better chance of winning than the other one.
Well, obviously.
I'll be
30 to 1.
I'll be
versus 200
texting
to 1.
you.
I mean, he has no chance to win the other one.
Well, I'll be texting you when Sammy Watkins catches his second touchdown pass in the first quarter. Don't worry.
Okay.
Doesn't he have to be
All right,
healthy to do that? All 60 minutes?
He'll be hurt in the second quarter.
Hey, look, I've said Devontae Parker would have more receiving yards this year than Sammy Watkins, so I'm not a Sammy Watkins guy.